Greetings, duelists, and welcome to another deck report. This is Season 6X, week number 6. I have two deck reports for you today. The first one is a Dracotail variant. Before I talk about the list and the reason I'm showing it, I kind of want to talk a little bit around about the format. A lot of players already probably have noticed by now, but our current TCG format in Advanced Constructed is kind of stale at the moment. Outside of Yummy variants and Dracotail variants, you're not gonna see a whole lot of different decks like doing as well as those. The format, I won't say is pretty much solved, but until we get a new Forbidden Limited list or First Protocol comes around, I think the format is gonna stay with these being the better decks of the format. That's not to say that other decks don't stand a chance. It's just more that a lot of more polished players are going to be more comfortable with the strategies that already have been figured out. I don't think Phantom Revenge is going to change that to a large degree. I will experiment with Phantom Revenge. There are some things about the archetypes in there that I am very interested in. But with that being said, let's get straight to the list. So I did play Dracotail again. This is another iteration of the Shaddoll version. I really like this deck. I really do have a lot of fun with it. A lot of people don't like the mirror match. I feel like the Dracotail mirror match, it's not as bad. At least for me, it's not, because I am playing engine requirements and a deck build that kind of focuses a little bit more towards the mirror match, if that makes sense. I think until Burst Protocol comes around, this will probably be my last list. This is not a perfect list by any means. There are some things I would change about it, but it is a list that I actually really like, and I did top locals with it. My record was X1. My only loss was to the winner of the locals, which was on Pure Yummy. I lost to them on round 3. And yeah, let's get straight to the list and we can talk more about it. So, 3 Lucias, 3 Phimena, Frixel, 3 Malulu, 2 Urgula, 1 Pan. I really feel comfortable with these ratios. I don't feel like I need any more. Shout out to my Dracotail opponent in round 2 that opened Pan Urgula all 3 games. Like, that was wild. In their defense, and they even told me that they were playing 2 and 1. They were not playing 3 and 2. Actually, no, they were playing 2 and they were playing 1 Urgula and 2 Pans. Like, which is kind of crazy that they kept seeing those cards every game. But yeah, I like these ratios. If you're playing a more purish variant, you should play more. I didn't feel like I needed any more than this. The other engines that I'm playing in the deck kind of makes up for like the grind game when involving these names. There was a mirror match where my opponent DD crowed this, and I was playing the entire rest of the game without Pan into rotation. Because, you know, if you've seen my list by now, you already know I'm playing 2 Arthalions. So I kind of wanted to prioritize this over any other Dracotail name, especially since my opponent opened Ghostbell and they Ghostbelled me all 3 games. So shout outs to that. But yeah, these are the numbers. Unless I'm playing like a more purish variant, I don't think I will change that. So we're still on the Shaddolls. We're back to 4 Shaddoll names. I think there was a time I was playing 5, including Squamata. These are enough names for me to do enough things. One thing you'll see is that we are playing Winda in the extra deck, so drawing into these names is not completely like out of touch. These are just really strong cards, and I really do think once the new support comes out in the TCG, I will be fiddling around this a little bit more. And yeah, like this gives me an edge in the mirror match. This is not bad into the Yummy matchup. This is not bad against the Mitsurugi matchup either. Against Mitsurugi, it's kind of funny because if they try to Murakumo to negate your cards, you can just discard any of these and they all get the trigger. So it kind of works out in that sense. Yeah, I definitely would not change the Shaddoll count. I think they were all great. The only hand trap that we made was Fualos. I don't want to count Magnamut as a hand trap. And a lot of players already realize this by now. There are no better hand traps than Fualos at the moment. Like, you can make the argument for Droll and Lockbird, but like there's more value that you get out of Fua than you get out of Droll, like against across the board. Yeah, there's not much to say on this. This is basically the best deck that can play this card because it's the deck that can get the most value out of this card even when you're going first. Yeah. I really didn't miss anything in the main deck. I didn't miss Ash, I didn't miss Droll, I didn't miss Nibiru. Especially since I played against a lot of mirror matches this past week. We're still on 3 Swamp. I really like Swamp. I know I'm not one of the biggest players. I'm one of the minority when it comes to this card. I just like it in the sense that it's 3 different specific names that we use in our extra deck. And especially since we're playing the branded package, this can be treated as Albaz, which does come up a fair amount of times. Speaking of names, we are on 2 Blazing Cartesias and 1 Fallen of Albaz. I even thought about upping Cartesia to 3 at one point, but fun fact, I opened Cartesia almost every game this past weekend. This card is incredible. I always feel great when having this card in my hand. The 1 Albaz, I did draw it more times than I would have wished, and I even drew it alongside Branded Fusion once or twice, which is a little bit annoying. But again, Swamp can be any of these names as well, which makes things a lot more interesting on certain game states. Yeah, absolutely love this package. I don't think I would change the ratios. If I didn't see Cartesia enough times, I probably would have upped Cartesia to 3. Besides that, I think those ratios are fine. And the last monster is Magnamut. I thought about cutting Magnamut from the deck, but the thing, and one cool thing about Magnamut, well, with Mitsu and Yummy still being very popular, Magnamut is just a shoe-in in the deck. You will see in my side deck there are more Bestials in there. But that being said, the other reason I don't dislike Magnamut in the main is because we are playing the Shaddoll cards, and after you use your Shaddoll cards, they're just graveyard fodder. You can just banish these for Magnamut, and you just get even more pluses and more value like with it. So that's it for monsters. Spell cards. We got the 3 Ketu. We got the 3 Rahu. We got 3 Shaddoll Fusions. I still really like Shaddoll Fusion in this deck. I think that this, like, against the mirror match, this card is great. Like, I've always had a lot of value behind this card. Since we're not playing that many hand traps, I felt like this is a really good engine card. This is just really good going second. And, you know, I really don't feel like I really need a lot of hand traps in this list. Like, a lot of these cards, like, we can talk about Branded Fusion, and guess we can talk about Fallen the Virtuous as well. as well as the one polymerization. I feel like all these cards are just really good no matter if you're going first or second. Shaddoll Fusion is obviously the outlier here. I did open Shaddoll Fusion and a Shaddoll name like twice. And I would always start with the Shaddoll Fusion because this baits Ash Blossom. Uh, the more notable players will know that this card can get ashed. So this for me was just basically Ash bait if they did have it. And sometimes people would fall for it. They would ash this, and then by ashing my Shaddoll spell, I can just activate my other spells without the fear of it getting stopped by Ash Blossom. Last spell card is Called by the Grave. Arguably, in my eyes, in my opinion, the best spell card in the game. I really don't like this card. If you've been in this channel and seen enough of my Dracotail profiles by now, you already know that this is probably the card I don't like the most out of any card in the game. A lot of people don't like Droll and Shifter. I don't like this card more than those two. So that's it for spell cards. And we're maining the 3 Dracotail traps, and we are maining Schism. Schism is just really cool. If you have access to your Shaddoll engine, this summons Winda. Not only does it summon Winda, this can summon Apkalon as well. Against Mitsurugi and Canine decks, Grista is a really good interruption against them because it just invalidates like their extra deck summons. Against the Mirror Match, you mainly are just gonna summon Winda or Apkalon with this. Yeah, I don't think I resolved this at all the entire past weekend, but it is one of those cards that I really like. This also baits Ghost Bell, which is really good if you don't want people to Ghost Bell your other traps. I've been on the scenario where I know that my opponent has Bell in their hand, and I want my other cards to resolve, and this is just a really good bait for the Ghost Bell. Another note is once the Shaddoll structure deck comes out, this card is probably gonna be mandatory in the build. This card is just way too strong in like any Shaddoll variant. That's it for main deck. It should be 45 cards. So extra deck, we're still on to our Thalions, the Wangulamel. We're playing Winda this time. We're still on the 2 other Shaddolls. I only summoned Winda once this entire past week, but I still like Winda in the deck. It makes it so you can use Mululu as a material with Shaddoll Fusion for engine pushes against your opponent. Against Mitsurugi variants, you can lock them out of the game easily with this. Against the Mirror Match, it's not that horrible either. Like you put them on an awkward position where they kind of have to out the Winda, and if you have other forms of removal against your opponent, like they're pretty much just stuck on the spot because you cannot pop this with Fallen the Virtuous. You cannot pop this with Dracotail Pan. Your only real way to get rid of this, like, is with Arthalion. Like, there's not enough board breakers being mained at the moment, at least in the Dracotail Mirror, to out this card. Yeah, it just makes it really awkward for your opponent. And I did win one game. The one game I did summon it. Apkalona and Grista, I don't need to explain these. So, Sanctifier, Albion, Titanic Clad. These are still the 3 I would keep playing. I've been hearing people talking about probably Sanctifier being in the Forbidden list in the future. I'll be honest, like I really didn't summon this card that much. I think these 2 are way more important. If this ever gets gutted on for a future list, this will probably become Lubellion the Searing Dragon. Dragoon. I still summon this against Yummy. This card is really good against that deck. It's really good against Mitsu variants as well. Against Vanquish Soul, this card is also strong. Like, their only real outs are Holly Sue and Mad Love. And even then, it can become awkward if you summon like other threats alongside it. I would not cut this card at all. In March, we are getting new Dark Magician support, which will make this engine a lot easier to summon in Dracotail variants. So yeah, stay tuned for that. Secretarian Dragon, I will say this. The second one did come up for me this past week. I would still play one though. I think the reason the second one came up is because I was misplaying with it. I was summoning this way too early against my opponent when I should have just held that for like future turns. That being said, I really do like this card. I think the fact that Shaddolls are spellcasters and they can be used to make this card makes it a lot more fun and a lot more intuitive to be using this card. So yeah, this might get bumped to 2 in the future, but for now, I think 1 is fine. Chaos, I think if you're playing Branded Fusion, you should play this. Guardian Chimera, I did not summon this at all this past week. Every time I had King of the Swamp in my hand, my opponent had either the Retaliating Sea or they had Herald of Arclight, which means I couldn't discard the King of the Swamp to add Polymerization. So I didn't get to see Polymerization that much. I did summon Dragoon with King of the Swamp, and I did summon Blazing. I did summon the next card, which I'm gonna show with King of the Swamp enough times. So it worked more as a name or as a body than actually poly. I would still play this card. This card is incredibly strong against the mirror match if you get to resolve it. This card is also really good against Vanquish Soul, which is not a really good matchup for us to begin with. And the last 2 cards are Greg-Wignall and Luluwa Lilith. I summoned Greg-Wignall a lot this past week. I think Greg-Wignall is really good if you play Blazing Cartesia in your deck. I think post-Burst Protocol, you are going to play this card too, because the new Albaz makes this easy to summon as well. Luluwa Lilith also was really good. I did shoutouts to Glenn, my second round opponent. This won me my Dracotail mirror match. So the scenario was that I had the Greg-Wignall on the board, and I had ways to stop my opponent from using fusion spells. Like I had the Dracotail Flame, I had like other cards in rotation. So it forced my opponent to use 5 mana against me, and the 5 mana makes it so you can banish the Greg-Wignall to summon Luluwa Lilith. And what's really cool about Luluwa Lilith is that if you're playing against Dracotail, like your Dracotail opponent, and they are turn player, this card will invalidate their Arthalions. This card will invalidate their Gulamels. This will invalidate like a lot of the cards that they're summoning, because this will just trigger going sick, like as Channing 2. Permanently making it 3k attack is also really strong. I forced Arthalions to crash over this. I forced Secretarian Dragon afterwards because they would have lower attack than this. Yeah, I also won 1 game because my opponent got rid of this, and this summoned Blazing Cartesia during the end phase. Post-Burst Protocol, this card is also going to be really good because you can make this with the Incredible Ecclesia. Be mindful that you will get blocked out of summoning this if you use Fallen of White's effect. We will talk about that in the future. But more importantly, this can summon Incredible Ecclesia, this can summon Blazing Cartesia, this can summon like a lot of other really cool cards in like So yeah, that's it for the extra deck. I don't think I would change anything. The thing, if I were to change something, it would probably be this for a second Secretarian Dragon. Everything else I think was perfectly fine. I know that some people are uncomfortable without playing a third Arthalion. If you want to play the third Arthalion, I would suggest cutting Winda. Winda is not really that necessary in the deck, even if I'm playing 4 Shaddoll names. But yeah, that's about it. Let's go to the side. This is gonna be the most boring side deck, to be honest. 3 Droll, 3 Ash, 2 Nibs, 2 Bell, 2 Bestials. This is probably the most intuitive thing about the list. We are playing 2 more copies of Fallen the Virtuous, and we're playing the Feather Duster. The reason these cards are here is because last week I did lose to a non-fusion area twice. So I kind of just wanted more cards to out that card, like post side. These are just really good against Mr. Rugi and Yummy variants. This is just good against Mr. Rugi and Yummy variants. This is all. You also cite this going second against the Dracotail mirror match. This card is just, a lot of people just don't respect this card, so you know you should be playing it somewhere in your deck. Ash is honestly here for the mirror match. It's not really here for anything else. This card is mediocre into every other deck right now. And this is just a necessary evil against like really strong rogue decks and mixture variants. So yeah, that's it for the list. I hope you found it informative to your liking and understanding. Like I said earlier, I don't think I would change a lot about this list until Burst Protocol comes out, or we get a Forbidden Limited list, which I do think we might get one very soon. Before that set. Yeah. I hope you found this intriguing to your liking, understanding. I hope you found this to be very fun. Like, this is not the most fun. This is probably the most boring part of the format at the moment. We are kind of a bit of a drought. Burst Protocol is still a ways away, but before that we get Phantom Revenge. And I do think Phantom Revenge might change a few things. It really depends on how people look at it or have practice with the decks. Alright, that's it from me. Keep practicing and keep dueling.